Welcome to Ask Lincoln. All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Today, we're diving into one of the most heated debates lighting up Twitter and X feeds across the country: Trump's Ukraine aid freeze, Biden's big spending, and the viral circus spinning around both. And, of course, I've got with me the one and only Honest Abe Lincoln. Abe, how's life in the 21st century Twitter sphere treating you?
Well, I'll say this. When I warned about a house divided, I didn't imagine it would be divided by memes, bots, and angry hashtags. But here we are. I've got folks arguing whether Ukraine's a brave ally or a $350 billion black hole. Frankly, I've seen fewer contradictions in 19th century newspaper wars.
Let's set the stage with one of the most viral takes right now. Trump supporters are shouting he's cutting Ukraine aid to zero. Zero. Full stop. Some are calling it genius 4D chess forcing Zelensky to the table. Others say it's straight up surrender to Putin. Where do you land on that one?
If only diplomacy worked like a poker table, we'd all be millionaires. Look, pausing aid isn't quite the same as cutting it to zero. Trump pressed pause after that Oval Office meeting. Sure. But even in my day, you don't negotiate peace by tying one side's hands entirely. You're basically handing Putin the pen and saying, write your terms. That's not 4D chess. That's checkers on a tilted board.
And then we've got these viral numbers floating around. The big one? Biden gave Ukraine $350 billion. You see that on every fifth tweet. True? False? Some strange mathematical alchemy?
Pure alchemy. The actual number, according to most oversight reports, is somewhere between 170 and 180 billion total since 2022. Still massive, but not even close to 350 billion. That number probably came from someone mashing together aid, loans, wishful thinking, and maybe Zelensky's Netflix subscription. The internet loves a nice, fat, exaggerated headline. Makes for better memes.
Speaking of wild headlines, let's talk minerals. Trump recently floated the idea that Ukraine should repay America with its mineral wealth. Some estimate Ukraine's sitting on over $11 trillion in untapped resources. Sounds like a pretty sweet deal, right? Why not make Ukraine pay us back with lithium and rare earths?
I love a good business negotiation as much as the next frontier lawyer, but this one's a bit fanciful. Those mineral estimates sound impressive until you remember most of that is underground, in war zones, and will take decades to extract. It's like saying my farm's worth a fortune because there's gold under the barn, but I don't own the mining gear, and there's a Confederate army camped on top of it. You can't sell what you can't reach.
You're telling me there's no secret Zelensky yacht fleet paid for with American tax dollars?
Oh yes, the yacht conspiracy. Two mega yachts, both still listed for sale. No evidence Zelensky ever touched them. But hey, it's not a real scandal these days unless there's a yacht involved. That's just meme economics.
Let's zoom out a bit. Biden says if Ukraine falls, Putin won't stop there. We've got NATO allies already panicking. Meanwhile, Trump's saying Europe should pick up the slack. And Europe, to be fair, has started to catch up. How serious is this risk that if America backs off, Putin keeps pushing?
History doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. When aggressive powers see hesitation, they don't typically slow down. The last time Europe hoped that appeasing one dictator would bring peace, we all know how that ended. If Ukraine falls, you can bet the Baltics, Poland, even Finland start sweating. That's why NATO's suddenly remembering its checkbook. But make no mistake, if America pulls back too far, it sends a message. And not just to Moscow.
That brings us to the heart of the populist debate. Is this America first or America foolish? A lot of folks say, why are we dumping billions into Ukraine while vets sleep on the street? Shouldn't we fix America before fixing Ukraine?
That's the gut punch argument. And emotionally, it resonates. But geopolitics isn't a zero-sum game. You can fix your roof while also watching your neighbor's house burn, especially if his house fire might jump to yours. Isolation sounds safe until the threats knock on your door. The real question isn't whether we should help Ukraine, but whether failing to help now makes things far more expensive later. Wars we ignore have a habit of showing up anyway.
Let's get real. Is Trump playing reckless or playing smart with this aid-freeze strategy? Is this tough love negotiation or a high-stakes gamble?
It depends whose playbook you're reading. Trump's treating this like a real estate deal. Freeze payments, squeeze concessions, make them sweat. But wars aren't condos. Ukraine's not negotiating from a position of strength when they're being shelled. Diplomacy works best when both sides have leverage. Freeze too much aid, and you weaken Ukraine's position without making Putin any less aggressive. In my day, that would be called inviting miscalculation.
All right, Abe, one last gut check. If you had to sum up this entire mess in one sentence for our viewers, what would you say?
I'd say this. When your foreign policy depends on viral tweets and imaginary yachts, you're gambling not just with your money, but with your future security. Diplomacy isn't about the loudest headline. It's about what tomorrow's headlines might cost you.
That's why we keep bringing you back. Abe. History may not repeat, but your voice sure stays relevant. Folks, hit that like button, drop your take in the comments, and let us know, is America playing smart or playing with fire? We'll catch you next time.
That's it for now. Got more questions? Subscribe and ask me live. I'll answer right in the stream. I'm Abraham Lincoln. See you next time.